Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, welcome you all to today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam as part of the Bhakti Vaibhav session. So we'll have a quick recap. So at the beginning of this particular chapter, we see Maharaj Parikshit, who had decided to give up everything, including the basic bodily needs of food and water and everything, and had decided to fast until death for the remaining period of 7 days on the banks of the Ganges and to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadev Goswami. He specifically prayed to Shukadev Goswami to describe unto him the potencies of the Lord, especially related to the Maya Shakti. So as we see, Lord Krishna has got multifarious, various range of potencies, unlimited, and in which we have the Chit Shakti, which is referred to as the Lord's internal potency, and Maya Shakti, which is referred to as Lord's external energy. And we understand from the writings of Srila Prabhupada how before understanding about the workings of the Lord's internal energy, it is very, very important for a devotee to understand and appreciate the workings of the Lord's external energy, the Maya Shakti. And as a result, Maharaj Parikshit requested Shukadev Goswami to discuss Lord's activities of creation, maintenance, and subsequent annihilation. And before this, putting this request in front of Shukadev Goswami, we also see Maharaj Parikshit genuinely, sincerely glorifying Shukadev Goswami by referring to him as Samichinam. Samichinam vacho Brahman sarvajnasya tavanagha. So Samichinam, that means he's perfectly right. Whatever he speaks is just perfectly right. In this regard, we see, not related to this verse, but in regard to this principle, Srila Prabhupada said that if one chants Hare Krishna regularly and consumes only prasadam, nothing other than prasadam, very stringently and follows the regulatory principles of devotional service, just by the normal practice of this very stringent following, one within 12 years of time, whatever one speaks, only the truth will come out of his mouth. That means no gibberish or no ordinary stuff will come if a person is genuinely practicing the principles of devotional service for a given period of time. So for a personality like Shukadev Goswami, who is such a perfected being, Maharaj Parikshit is saying, whatever you speak, my dear Brahmana, is nothing but perfect and truth. So that is first glorification. Then second glorification, Maharaj Parikshit offers to Shukadev Goswami that he is all knowing, Sarvagyasya, just like in other part of Bhagavatam in the first canto we see, even Vyasadeva appreciates and praises his Guru Maharaj Narada Muni when Narada appears to resolve the despondency within the heart of Srila Vyasadeva. Srila Vyasadeva mentions that you are as good as just like Paramatma, who is residing within everyone's heart and knows everything inside and out, what is going on in every living entity's heart. So, of course, Paramatma is the Supreme Lord. A Jiva can never be the Supreme Lord. But Srila Vyasadeva is glorifying Narada Muni that based on the empowerment of the Supreme Lord, a devotee can be as good as in terms of knowledge and understanding of how this world works as the Supreme Lord. So that's why Parikshit Maharaj is glorifying Shukadev Goswami as all-knowing. And Agha means a sinful activity, like what is that verse? Yajna Shishta Shina Santo Muchante Sarva Kilbishai Bhunjate Te Twagam Papa. Twagam, that means those people who are preparing food just for the satisfaction of their own palate and eating for their own satisfaction, they are nothing but eating agam, sin only. But Shukadev Goswami is being described as anagha, that means it's completely devoid of any contamination of or sinful activities. So in such glorification, Maharaj Parikshit is praising Shukadev Goswami and requesting him to describe the workings of Lord's external energy. So here he says, I beg to know from you how the personality of Godhead by his personal energies creates these phenomenal universes as they are, which are inconceivable even to the demigods. And we had elaborately discussed this particular point, that how even when other great devotees were approached their superiors, for example, Vidura approaching Maitreya in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam describes and Maitreya Maharshi himself acknowledges that Vidura is no ordinary personality. He is born right from the semen of Srila Vyasadeva. So he is the son of the Supreme Lord himself, because Vyasadeva is an incarnation of the Lord. Plus, in his eternal service, Vidura is, who is Vidura, Prabhuji's Mataji's, in his eternal form? Yes? Yamaraj, yes. So Vidura, he is one of the 12 Mahajans in his eternal service to the Lord as Yamaraj. So he is no ordinary personality, but because of seniority of Maitreya Maharshi in terms of age, Vidura is offering him all respects. And when that Maitreya Vidura Samvad begins in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the first inquiries made by Vidura to Maitreya Maharshi are also about explaining Lord's inconceivable potencies related to the creation of this particular cosmic manifestation. So this is a uniformity we see in these high class devotees, pure devotees approaching other great devotees. They know for sure what is the process of creation and how Lord creates, maintains and annihilates. But for the benefit of people in general and out of their own humility, they want to understand the workings of the Maya potency of the Lord before understanding workings of Lord's internal energy or Chit Shakti. And then after inquiring about the creation, maintenance and annihilation, how does Lord create, maintain and annihilate, then we see that Shukadev Goswami, while responding to this specific set of inquiries by Maharaj Parikshit, he begins by offering his obeisances to the Supreme Lord. And he glorifies the Supreme Lord as the giver of the liberation and the one who relieves all the devotees from all the distresses and destroys the advances of the atheistic temperament of non-devotees. So he offers such prayers, and specifically the famous prayer that Srila Prabhupada refers to later on, that he mentions that such Lord whose glorification in the form of kirtan, whose remembrance or audience, his one-on-one personal audience with the Lord, prayers, offering him prayers, hearing about him or worshipping him, can at once cleanse all the effects of past sins performed by the performer. So he is also offering the prayers to the Lord before beginning to respond to Maharaj Parikshit's questions. And then he explains Vichakshana. Vichakshana means the top class intellectuals. How such top class intellectuals, they take shelter of the Supreme Lord. The highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto the Lord's lotus feet, are relieved of all attachments to present and future existences, and without difficulty progress towards spiritual existence. And in our deep dive discussion, we had referred back this word even to Narada's instruction to Srila Vyasadeva, where while Narada specifically does a very critical analysis of Vyasadev's composition, saying that how mainly the dharma, artha, kama and moksha, the four purusharthas, are coming out of his writing, and bhakti is somewhere lying in the corner where the common mass of people won't even be able to recognize or focus. And then when Srila Vyasadeva questions his spiritual master that, my dear sir, you are asking me to write a literature which is free of those four purusharthas, purely glorifying the Supreme Lord. But if I don't give these four purusharthas, 99% of the population of this cosmic manifestation, which is conditioned, how would they get attracted? And Narad Muni encourages his disciple, don't worry, that Vichakshana, there are always that intellectual class of people who are very genuinely looking to understand, to gain the understanding about the Supreme Lord. They would appreciate. So you write this literature of Srimad Bhagavatam for such Vichakshanas, intellectuals, highly intellectuals means spiritual intellectuals. And here also Shukadev Goswami is saying that such Vichakshanas, having taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, are relieved from all the attachments and they progress towards the path of spiritual existence. And then Shukadev Goswami glorifies the position of the great devotees of the Lord, that even the fallen souls coming from different backgrounds, including Kirat, Hunna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumba, Yavana, and Khasa, and so on and so forth, even such fallen souls, when they take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord's devotees, then ye anye cha papa, that means these plus other sinful personalities, when they take shelter of the pure lotus feet of the pure devotees of the Lord, shuddhyanti tasmai, they become immediately purified. And to such Supreme Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu, whose pure devotees are so potent that taking their shelter of lotus feet, then such fallen persons can also be purified. To that Supreme Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances. And then that famous verse that the Lord is Shriya Pati, and he is Yadupati, and he is Dhiyapati, that he is the Lord and Master of one's intelligence, Lord and Master of the Yadu, Andhaka, Vrishni dynasties, and of all living entities. To that Supreme Lord, Shukadev Goswami is offering his respectful obeisances. And we had concluded at text number 21, which we will briefly just go through to one particular example, which I forgot to mention last time. So anybody would like to read through Prabhuji's Mataji's selected part can raise their hands, and we would request one by one. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, you can start with the translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Only the selected, should I read the shloka?
No need of shloka. We'll start shloka from 22 onwards.
Okay,
Translation and
translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna who gives liberation. By thinking of his lotus feet at every second, following in the footsteps of authorities, the devotee in trance can see the absolute truth. The learned mental speculators, however, think of him according to their whims. May the Lord be pleased with me. Purport. The mystic yogis, after a strenuous effort to control the senses, may be situated in a trance of yoga just to have a vision of the supersoul within everyone. But the pure devotee, simply by remembering the Lord's lotus feet at every second, at once becomes established in real trance, because by such realization, his mind and intelligence are completely cleansed of the diseases of material enjoyment. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So here it is mentioned for a yogi to be able to focus his mind and attention on the Supreme Lord, he needs to go through a very strenuous set of exercises and yeah, gymnastics and physical activities. But for a devotee, because he is constantly engaged in the service of the Lord, he is 24/7 always in remembrance of the lotus feet of the Lord. And in this regard, I have given example of a very wonderful personality who on the upfront was misunderstood based on the external symptoms, but later on his glories were manifested. Yes. So this story of Srila Pundarik Vidyanidhi is very inspiring. It comes in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrut. And before that, there is a beautiful verse which comes in Chaitanya Charitamrut, Madhya Lila, 8th chapter, 274th verse. So here it is mentioned, Sthavara Jangama dekhe, न देखे तार मूर्ति सर्वत्र हय निज इष्ट देव स्फूर्ति. That stavara means static at one place, immobile, and jangama means moving. So a pure devotee of the Lord, whenever he sees anything that is static or moving, he always gets reminded in one way or another of the Supreme Lord. So what is the relation of this particular verse with reference to Srila Pundarik Vidyanidhi? So what happens is one of the Panchatatvas, Lord's associate Srila Gadadhar Pandit, another great devotee of the Lord, Mukunda, who was a physician by profession, he happens to take Srila Gadadhar Pandit to the palace of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who was a king at that particular time, but a very great devotee. And Gadadhar Pandit, on the other hand, he was a completely renounced devotee. We see that he had taken Kshetra Sannyas, that means a vow of never leaving Jagannath Puri and the service to Tota Gopinath throughout his life. That was his vow. And Gadadhar Pandit is none other than who? From Krishna Lila? Who is Srila Gadadhar Pandit? Srimati Radharani, yes. So when Gadadhar Pandit was taken to the palace of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he saw the palace as having been decorated very, very magnificently. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he was wearing a very expensive set of clothes with, of course, all that is not shown here in the picture because I didn't get that picture on Google. But the servants were fanning him with chamara and all, and he was eating pan. What is pan called in English? Which leaves?
Betel leaf.
Betel leaf. Betel leaf, correct. Betel leaf. And he was chewing pan, and while chewing pan, he was watching in the mirror and smiling, sitting on the throne. And when Gadadhar Pandit, who was a renunciate, he saw the worldly opulence of the palace and king enjoying so much material facilities. He was thinking in his mind, why has Mukunda brought me to such a materialistic place? He was not understanding, and Mukunda, understanding Gadadhar Pandit's mind, he basically started reciting a few verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. And again, he came to that very famous verse, Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam. And this verse is so famous, Prabhuji's Mataji's, that this verse also comes in the section of Shukadev Goswami being attracted to Lord Krishna's glories and pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is 3 to 23, where we can just recite this verse. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, you know proper meter for this?
I'll try, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Aho bakiyam sthana kalakutam
Aho bakiyam stanakalakutam
kalakutam jigam sayapayadapi asadvi
jigam sayapaya yat api asadvi
lebe gatim datriuchitam tatonyam
lebe gatim dhatri yuchitam tatonyam
kamba dayalum sharanam vrajema.
kam va dayalum sharanam vrajema. So when Mukunda recited this particular verse from Srimad Bhagavatam in front of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, the meaning of this verse is, who can be more munificent and merciful than the Supreme Lord, who granted liberation even to Bakiyam. Bakiyam means the sister of Bakasur, that means Putana. Why he's granting liberation to Putana is very special, because this Asadhvi, this demoness, came with the intention of killing Krishna as a child by smearing her breast with Kalakutam, with the most poisonous substance, Kalakuta poison. So she came with the intention of killing Krishna, but to such a sadhvi, because she externally dressed herself like a mother, a very attractive lady, going with a maternal affection towards the child, Krishna took that external superficial aspect of her personality, and whatever was her real mood of killing Krishna, he just purified that particular mood. To such a sadhvi, he granted the position of nurse in the spiritual world, the position of his mother in the spiritual world. Who can be more merciful than such a personality who we can take shelter of? And when Mukunda recited this particular verse in front of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, immediately that same Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who was sitting with such expensive clothes and eating and enjoying betel nut leaf, he went into such deep remembrance of Lord Krishna, hearing this particular verse, and he went in such ecstasy in separation that he immediately, started rolling on the ground. And in that ecstasy, his clothes on his body were all disarrayed, his hairs got disarrayed, and all the makeup and everything that he was wearing, it all became completely messed up. And he started rolling in the ground in ecstasy and crying in remembrance of Lord Krishna. And Gadadhar Pandit, he felt very embarrassed. Why did he feel embarrassed? Because he thought of Pundarik Vidyanidhi as the first impression, as a very materialistic person engaged in material enjoyment. And now he turns out to be such a great devotee who was misunderstood by Srila Gadadhar Pandit. So in his mind, Gadadhar Pandit felt very bad about his own misunderstanding of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and he decided to surrender himself. And ultimately, Gadadhar Pandit did take initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So point we are trying to explain in this text 21 is, a devotee's remembrance of Lord Krishna is so intense that whenever he sees anything moving or anything static, non-moving in this world, so one way or other, he gets reminded of Lord Krishna. That is the speciality of a pure devotee. There is one more example from the life of Srila Prabhupada, which I have not mentioned here, but I think it was Tamal Krishna Maharaj who was traveling with Srila Prabhupada. And obviously, devotee is always very careful and alert whenever we are in the close proximity of pure devotees or our own spiritual masters. We are very careful not to behave in a absurd manner or whimsical manner, because we don't want to give a wrong impression in front of such advanced devotee. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj, if I remember correctly, was reading some book, and that was a flight. And on the screen in front, the big screen for the middle seats, the Charlie Chaplin, not Charlie Chaplin, I think the Tom and Jerry or some uh, cartoon was being shown. And Srila Prabhupada was looking at the cartoon and was laughing wholeheartedly. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj found it very amusing that, hey, I am trying to read Srila Prabhupada book and trying to keep myself very focused on Krishna, but Srila Prabhupada is enjoying the cartoon. And then Srila Prabhupada told him while talking after a while that how by remembering those characters in the cartoon, Srila Prabhupada got reminded of Lord Krishna's humor, and that's why he was laughing. So point is, Sthavara Jangama Dekhe, Na Dekhe Tara Murti, that when a devotee sees anything moving or non-moving, he doesn't see just that object itself, but he always sees Sarvatra Haya Nija Ishtadeva Spurti, that wherever he sees, immediately he is reminded of Lord Krishna because he is engaged in remembrance of lotus feet of the Lord 24/7. So we saw two examples, one of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, immediately being reminded of Lord Krishna when the verses of Bhagavatam glorifying Krishna were sung, or Srila Prabhupada, who while seeing cartoon characters acting in a humorous manner, he remembered Lord Krishna's humor. And there are so many examples. We see in Chaitanya Charitamrut when when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not granting personal audience to Maharaj Pratap Rudra, devotees arranged for Maharaj Pratap Rudra's son uh, to come and visit Lord Chaitanya. And because son in a way represents father, so at least that would mitigate the uh, suffering of Maharaj Pratap Rudra by not getting audience with the Lord. And it is explained that when Pratap Rudra Maharaj's son entered the quarters where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, Pratap Rudra Maharaja's son had a uh, cloud-like complexion, bit dark complexion. And seeing that particular child, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got reminded of Krishna, seeing the color of that particular child. And he started chanting loudly and jumping in ecstasy. And while chanting loudly Lord Krishna's holy names, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced that particular child, Maharaj Pratap Rudra's son. And because of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's embrace, even that particular child became ecstatic in remembrance of Lord Krishna. And when Pratap Rudra Maharaj had his son return home and that child was in such ecstasy, Maharaj Pratap Rudra himself went into ecstasy after embracing his own son. So point is, that child was just carrying the complexion like a monsoon cloud, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not see just the child, but based on the complexion of that child, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got reminded of Krishna. And by hearing the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj Pundarik Vidyaniti got reminded of Krishna, or Srila Prabhupada got reminded of Krishna by seeing the cartoon characters. And there is one more, yes, there is one more incident in the life of, I think, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, where Mukunda, who was serving as a physician to the king, he was also a great devotee of the Lord. Once Mukunda sees the peacock feather, which is there in the peacock fan that we offer to the Lord, and sometimes it is also used to offer uh, fresh air to the great personalities. So when the servant was fanning the king with the peacock fan, fan made of peacock feathers, when Mukunda saw the peacock feather, he got reminded of Lord Krishna, and he went into such ecstasy. And when he came to the external consciousness, he was very embarrassed because pure devotees, they don't want to show their ecstasy in the external circumstance when they are with people in general. So the king inquired to Mukunda, what happened? Why, what happened to you suddenly? And Mukunda did not want to mention that I got reminded of Krishna and got totally into ecstasy in remembrance of the Lord. He said that I have epilepsy attack, sometimes those people who have got epilepsy, they have to be careful because they can get those fits and it can be very dangerous if one is in water and all, one can even drown. So Mukunda just falsely told the king that I have got epilepsy fit and that's why I had that symptom in my body. And the king immediately understood, no, he's not telling the truth. He got into ecstasy seeing the peacock feather and probably it reminded him of Lord Krishna. So point is, such a pure devotee of the Lord, they always have that particular remembrance of the Lord in any and every situation. That is the meaning of Sthavara Jangama Dekhe. Any question, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Hare Krishna? Is this point clear?
No, Prabhuji. Beautiful
Hare, Hare,
explanation, and
Hare
yeah,
Krishna. Yes.
inspiring story, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. This is all glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So we proceed to today. So while I was preparing, I just thought that I forgot to mention this point in the last session, so I covered it. Now we start with the verses today. And let me see who all are the devotees. Prema Priya Jayashri Mataji, you want to recite? Hare Krishna. Or other devotees who want to recite, keep your hands raised, Prabhuji's Mataji. Usha Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, pranams.
Dandavat.
Text 4.22. Prachoditayena pura saraswati.
Prachoditayena pura saraswati.
Vitanvatajasya satim smritim hriti.
Vitanvatajasya satim smritim hridi.
Svalakshana pradurabhut kilasyat.
Swalakshana pradurabhut kilasyata.
Same rishinam rishabha prasidatam.
Same rishina rishabha prasidata. Translation.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. May the Lord, who in the beginning of the creation amplified the potent knowledge of Brahma from within his heart and inspired him with full knowledge of creation and his own self, and who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma, be pleased with me.
Thank you. Thank you much. So before we go to the purport, we will see few points about the translation. So it is mentioned, may the Lord, who in the beginning of creation amplified the potent knowledge of Brahma. So what is Shukadev Goswami referring to? In the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we see the creative potency when the creation of the cosmic manifestation has been explained by Maitreya Maharshi to Vidura. He explains about Hare Krishna. He explains about the birth of Lord Brahma from the navel, from the lotus emanating from the navel of Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And then there is a chapter, the prayers for creative energy, Lord Brahma's prayers to Lord Vishnu to be able to procreate, to be able to perform his service. And in that particular response to Lord Brahma's prayers, Lord Vishnu explains to him how he should create. And then Srimad Bhagavatam explains that how from Mahatattva, the false, from Mahatattva, how the three modes of material nature they come. And from the three modes of material nature, how through their interactions, the subtle elements get created, starting with sound, and from sound to ether, and from ether, sequence, I don't want to get it wrong, from ether, it is Agni, and then air, and then water and earth. So did we miss anything? Sound, ether, earth, water, fire, air, ether. So sound and then ether and then air and then fire and then earth, all these five elements, in what sequence they get created, we see full details in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the meaning that the Lord amplified the potent knowledge of Brahma from within his heart and inspire him inspired him with the full knowledge of creation and of his own self. And what is the meaning of that Lord who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma? Anyone wants to, maybe all of you give few minutes, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, what is the meaning of this? How come the Lord be generated from the mouth of Brahma? Think over it. Shukadev Goswami is offering his prayers. To be honest, I also didn't know. I only heard from
Is
the
it
class.
Vedas, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes, very nice, Lalita Vinodini Mataji. Yes.
Yeah.
So, because Lord Krishna, sorry, 1 second. Lord Krishna, he is not different from the Vedic knowledge. The Vedas are originally emanating from the lotus mouth of the Lord. And same Lord, when he gave that knowledge to Lord Brahma, who was the first created being, Lord Brahma spoke that knowledge to whom? After himself? Who did Lord Brahma give that knowledge to?
The Manu?
Narada Muni.
Narada.
And Narada Muni gave it to Vyasadev to Shukadev Goswami, so on and so forth. So because Brahma spoke that knowledge first time after the Lord had given him that knowledge, then that's why it is mentioned Vedas appearing from the lotus mouth of Brahma, it is as good as Lord himself appearing from the mouth of Brahma. So that is the meaning of this prayer of Shukadev Goswami of Lord appearing from the mouth of Brahma. So now we go to the highlighted part. Who was reading? Usha Mataji, you were reading?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Yeah.
Purport: since the living being is constitutionally part and parcel of the Lord, he is unable to assimilate all the knowledge that the Lord possesses himself. In the conditioned state, the living being is subject to forgetting everything after a change of body, known as death. This potent knowledge is again inspired by the Lord from within the heart of every living being, and it is known as the awakening of knowledge, for it is comparable to the awakening from sleep or unconsciousness. This awakening of knowledge is under the full control of the Lord, and therefore we find in the practical world different grades of knowledge in different persons. This awakening of knowledge is neither an automatic nor a material interaction. The supply source is the Lord himself, Dhyam Patihi. For even Brahma is also subject to this regulation of the Supreme Creator.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, Lord Krishna is being referred to as Dhyam Pati. Where did we find this reference of Lord Krishna as Dhyam Pati? Prabhuji's, Mataji's? We discussed a while ago.
Yeah, two verses before Prabhuji.
Correct. In text
2, 3.
20, yes,
Yeah.
in text 20 we see Shukadev Goswami glorifying Lord Krishna as Yadupatim and Dhyam Patim and Sriyam Patim and so on and so forth. That means he is the Lord and Master of intelligence, and because he gave that intelligence to Lord Brahma, both in terms of Vedic knowledge as well as knowledge of how to create. Yes, Mataji, please proceed.
Brahma is born from the lotus which grows from the abdomen of the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and therefore he is known as Aja. This Brahma or Aja is also a living being, part and parcel of the Lord, but being the most pious devotee of the Lord, Brahma is inspired by the Lord to create. Subsequent to the main creation by the Lord through the agency of material nature. Therefore, neither the material nature nor Brahma is independent of the Lord. The material scientist can merely observe the reactions of the material nature without understanding the direction behind such activities, as a child can see the action of electricity without any knowledge of the powerhouse engineer.
Yes, Mataji. And the blue part?
Yes. The physicist can deal only with Prakrita sound or sound vibrated in the material sky, and therefore we must know that the Vedic sounds recorded in symbolic expressions cannot be understood by anyone within the universe unless and until one is inspired by the vibration of supernatural or a prakratra sound which descends in the chain of disciplic succession from the Lord to Brahma, from Brahma to Narada, from Narada to Vyasa, and so on. No mundane scholar can translate or reveal the true import of the Vedic mantras, hymns. They cannot be understood unless one is inspired or initiated by the authorized spiritual master.
Thank you, Mataji. So it is Prakruta and Aprakruta. So Prakruta is manifested, Aprakruta is a subtle one, unmanifested. So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining that the material scientist or physicist, they have ability to capture the radio waves, which is the sound in a very subtle format in the form of the waves, but they can capture only the material sound in the cosmic manifestation. But for every time when we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or every time great devotees of the Lord throughout the cosmic manifestation, including Devatas, including Lord Brahma, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, Lord Shiva, and so on and so forth, they are all been chanting the holy names of the Lord, glories of the Lord. So all those sounds also get recorded in the form of the waves, and they also are present in this cosmic manifestation. So while the material scientists have access to the material sound and they can capture through the receptors, etc., they don't have access to the spiritual sound, the aprakruta sound, which also exists in the cosmic manifestation. So when a devotee takes to Krishna consciousness, especially for the advanced devotees, pure devotees, it is mentioned that they can have access to this aprakruta sound anywhere they are sitting. So that means, like we have previously discussed, at every moment, even now, at some part of the cosmic manifestation, there is also a Srimad Bhagavatam glorification going on. There are also various leelas, various pastimes of the Lord going on, different pastimes in different universes. That's why they are called as Nitya Leela. That means these are eternal pastimes. So a pure devotee of the Lord can have access to this aprakruta or supernatural sound, whereas the material scientist, they can only grasp or capture the prakruta, the manifested material sound, whereas they don't have access to supernatural sound, which is glorification of the Lord. Yes, Mataji, last part.
Shukadev Goswami is praying to the Lord by dint of being inspired from within by the Lord so that he could rightly explain the facts and figures of creation as inquired by Maharaj Parikshit. A spiritual master is not a theoretical speculator like the mundane scholar, but is Shrotriyam Brahma Nishtam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now one question to all devotees, and based on what Mataji just read in the last paragraph, it should be easier to answer. Why is Shukadev Goswami specifically in this particular prayer remembering about Lord Brahma? Any connection? Can we think? Yes, I gave you the hint during the question itself. Why is Shukadev Goswami referring? Yes, Murli Prabhuji.
Is it remembering all the spiritual masters in the disciplinic succession?
Okay. So there is a reference to, yes, Guru Shishya Parampara, disciplic succession. Okay, that can be one reference. Anything else? There is one more very important point. Which,
Prabhuji, is it that everybody considers Brahma to be the creator, but it is not so? Brahma himself was created by the Lord. So nobody or nothing is independent of the Lord.
Okay. Let me give all of you a hint. What is the question posed by Maharaj Parikshit? Before preparing to answer that particular question, Shukadev Goswami is offering that question. prayers. So this is a hint. What was the question posed by Parikshit Maharaj? What did he want to know about the Supreme Lord?
The creative potencies.
He wanted to know about the external energy of the Lord.
Yeah, external energy,
external potency.
the activities of the external potency, Maya Shakti, in relation to what? Specifically, what he wanted to understand?
Creative potential.
Creation.
Yes, creation, correct. And what did Lord Brahma offer his prayer to the Lord for? For what purpose Lord Brahma offered his prayers to Supreme Lord? For creative energy, right? To understand how to create. So, because Shukadev Goswami needed to answer that particular inquiry by Maharaj Parikshit about how did the creation take place, Shukadev Goswami is offering prayer to the Lord in relation to Brahma, who also had that type of inquiry, or who also wanted that knowledge about the creative potency, about knowledge about the potency by which he would be able to create as a secondary creator. So that's why Shukadev Goswami is specifically referring to Lord Brahma, that it is that Supreme Lord who gave that knowledge about creation to Lord Brahma, and who in turn appeared as that knowledge of the Vedas from the mouth of Brahma. So because Shukadev Goswami was asked that particular inquiry by Parikshit Maharaj, he is referring to that particular pastime of Brahma requesting the Supreme Lord to grant him the creative potency. So we'll see few slides related to this. This slide has appeared twice. Yeah. So yeah, that is the reason why Shukadev Goswami is offering this prayer in relation to Lord Brahma. And so what is the import? Import is no devotee can substantially describe the glories of the Lord unless he or she is personally blessed by the Lord. And on the right hand side, I have shown the example of Dhruva Maharaj. So it is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam that when Lord appeared, when he gave his darshan to Dhruva Maharaj immediately was not able to say anything in glorification of the Lord. So in this picture, we see Lord Vishnu touching the head of this child Dhruva with his conch shell. And then Dhruva Maharaj was inspired to offer so many beautiful prayers to the Lord. So unless and until the devotee is empowered personally by the Supreme Lord, no one is able to glorify the Lord or describe the Lord properly. So this particular prayer and subsequent few prayers that would be coming, text 23, 24 and so on, we will see are specifically applicable to those devotees who are engaged in describing the Lord in the form of any courses that we conduct either on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. It is very, very important even for us to have this mood that, my dear Lord, it is not that based on my own knowledge I can describe you properly. Just like Lord Vishnu blessed Dhruva Maharaj with the potency to offer nice prayers, like that we have to also pray that let our words come suitable based on the teachings of the Guru Shishya Parampara, and may they be pleasing to you and positively impact spiritual life of ourselves as well as those who we speak with. So in the subsequent verses, we will also find the same prayer further being elaborated by Shukadev Goswami. And there is also a reference to other predecessor acharyas who, before responding to inquiries by the audience, they are also offering prayers to the predecessor acharyas and to the Supreme Lord, like in the case of Suta Goswami. The first canto, first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam is entitled Questions by the Sages of Naimish Aranya. And when Suta Goswami begins to respond to those questions by the sages, first thing he does is remember his own spiritual master. So where he says that, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the great sage Shukadev Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyas, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread or the ceremonies observed by the higher castes, his father, Vyasadeva, fearing separation from him, cried out, "O my son, indeed, only the trees which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation echoed in response to the begrieved father." So Suta Goswami is saying that my spiritual master, Shukadev Goswami, was actually the one who went inside those trees and inspired them to echo the words of Vyasadeva, because Bhagavatam mentions that when Srila Vyasadeva cried out for Shukadev Goswami, "Oh my son, don't go and come home," because immediately as soon as he was born as a 16-year, he started walking out, leaving home to take sannyas. Vyasadeva as a father naturally felt affectionate and felt separation from his son. So it is mentioned that Shukadev Goswami did not respond to the cries of Vyasadeva, but it was only the echo coming from the trees. And Suta Goswami is saying that, where is that word? Yeah, that he has the potency to enter into the heart of other living entities. So Suta Goswami is saying that it was Shukadev Goswami who inspired the trees in that forest to echo that cries from Srila Vyasadeva that, "Oh my son, don't go and come home." So that Shukadev Goswami, if he can inspire the trees by entering their hearts to respond to Srila Vyasadeva, let that Shukadev Goswami also inspire me to answer properly your inquiries. Suta Goswami is praying. And in the subsequent verse, text number 3, he says, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Shukadev Goswami, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadeva, who out of great compassion for those gross materialists who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge after having personally assimilated it by experience." So in this regard, we see Suta Goswami also, before speaking Bhagavatam, he is offering respect to the predecessors, remembering and praying for their mercy. And similarly, Shukadev Goswami in the earlier verse, praying to the Supreme Lord before beginning to respond to Maharaj Parikshit's inquiries. So that is the mood of all the devotees. They never think that I am going to speak Srimad Bhagavatam based on my own qualification, based on my own potency, that let me impress the audience based on my understanding of Krishna. Their mood is always, "My dear Lord, I don't know anything about you, but if you feel so, let my right words come out of my mouth so that I am able to glorify you properly, and the audience also get the right message to progress towards you." So we'll go to text
Prabhuji,
23.
I have a question, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Why is it that Shukadeva Goswami enter the trees and echo what the father said, Prabhuji?
Yeah, to offer solace to Vyasadeva, because he was in great bereavement, losing his son immediately as soon as he's born. So Shukadev Goswami.
He could have echoed his message, no, Prabhuji. He echoed exactly what the father said. It is just magnifying, amplifying what Vyasa wanted to say. Instead, he could have himself said, I mean, his message could have been echoed.
Yeah, so two things. Firstly, Shukadev Goswami Bhagavatam mentioned that he was a complete renunciate. He didn't have anything to do with the material world or whatever the normal obligations that a son inherits towards the parents or predecessors. So his renunciation was the one what caused him to leave home immediately as soon as he's born. At the same time, and that was the reason, his renunciation was the reason why he didn't even bother to look back or respond to his father who was crying out after him. But at the same time, he didn't want his father to be totally despondent without hearing any response at all. So just to put it in a very graphical manner, Bhagavatam mentions that there was no one to respond to Srila Vyasadeva. except for the echoes coming out from the trees within the forest. So regarding your inquiry whether it would have further amplified his separation, frankly, I don't know. But Bhagavatam feels that that was the response to Srila Vyasadev's cries, the echo coming from the trees. And this is the explanation by the Acharyas who say that it was like we saw from Sutta Goswami's verse. They say that it is Shukadev Goswami who has got that ability to inspire the trees by entering their heart to respond back to Vyasadeva. So why he responded in that particular manner, only he would know. But that is the explanation by our Acharyas, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Shall we move to text 23, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna. Is it too esoteric or too philosophical? Or is everyone able to understand? Hare Krishna. Prabhuji's, Mataji's. Is it difficult?
Understand, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So let me also get feedback. Who also are there? Venkata Narsimha Prabhu, Devika Mataji, Ananda Prada Mataji. Is this clear? Whatever we are discussing, is it too difficult?
Yes, Prabhu, it is okay.
Okay. So we will go to text 23. Gita Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Dandas Mataji.
Text 4.23. Bhuter Mahadhirya ima puro vibhu.
Bhuter Mahavir
Mahavir
Ima Puro Vibho
Nirmaya shete yadamu supurushaha.
Nirma Yashete Yad Amushu Purushaha
Bhumte gunan shodasha shodashatmakaha.
Bhunte Gunan Shodashatmakaha
Solam krishishta bhagavan vachamsmi me.
Solam
Ganishishta
Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Vachamsi.
Translation. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who enlivens the materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within the universe, and who in his Purusha incarnation causes the living being to be subjected to the 16 divisions of material modes which are his generator, be pleased to decorate my statements.
Yes. So before we go to the purport, here Shukadev Goswami is offering a prayer to the Supreme Lord that anything matter, anything material can only be activated, can only grow, flourish with the touch of a spirit to it. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, just like a body cannot grow, any matter cannot flourish or grow without a spiritual touch. So Shukadev Goswami is praying that that Supreme Spirit, Supreme Lord, may he please be pleased with me. May he empower me to speak the right word, to speak the right statements, to answer the inquiries made by Parikshit Maharaj. And we will see purport. Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. As a fully dependent devotee, Sukadeva Goswami, unlike a mundane man who is proud of his own capability, invokes the pleasure of the personality of Godhead so that his statements may be successful and be appreciated by the hearers. The devotee always thinks of himself as instrumental for anything successfully carried out, and he declines to take credit for anything done by himself. The godless atheist wants to take all credit for activities, not knowing that even a blade of grass cannot move without the sanction of the Supreme Spirit, the personality of Godhead. Sukadeva Goswami therefore wants to move by the direction of the Supreme Lord, who inspired Brahma to speak the Vedic wisdom.
Thank you, Mataji. So just like that Supreme Lord inspired and empowered Lord Brahma to speak Vedic wisdom, Shukadev Goswami is praying that may that Supreme Lord also bless him to speak the right words. Be pleased to decorate my statements. Shukadev Goswami wants to present the truths of creation not as a metaphysical theory or philosophical speculation, but as the actual facts and figures of the subject. Since he would be to dictated to by the Lord exactly in the same manner as Brahmaji was inspired. So this is the mood of a devotee, and in reference to that, there is a famous uh, Vaishnav song composed by Srila Prabhupada while he was on Jaladuta, which is called as Markata Bhagavata Dharma. That is the title of the song. And the first line of the song is Bado Krupa Hoilo Krishna Adhamera Gati. So this is a very beautiful Bengali song in which the last two stanzas Srila Prabhupada writes, Aniya Chojadi Prabhu Amare Nachate Nachao Prabhu Nachao Se Mate. He says that, oh Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, here means to United States, wherever Lord is taking Srila Prabhupada for preaching mission. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance, O Lord, make me dance as you like. And in the last stanza, Srila Prabhupada writes, Bhakti nai vedanai name khub daro Bhakti vedanta nam ebe sarthak karo. That I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy names of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhakti Vedanta, and now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhakti Vedanta. That means Prabhupada is totally depending on Lord Krishna, that now you have brought me here by your will. If you feel, then it is up to you if you want to justify the name that I have been given, Bhakti Vedanta, because I don't have, of course, out of his humility, is saying that I don't have any knowledge or devotion. So if you want to make my name suitable to me, Bhakti Vedanta, then you have to give me that knowledge of all the Vedic imports. Then I would be able to explain it to people in general. So you can refer to this beautiful Vaishnav song on KK Songs. So now we will see the last two verses. Any questions, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, on the mood of a devotee? He doesn't depend on his own competencies, but he depends on the mercy of the Lord to be able to speak the right words. There is a beautiful story regarding that which comes to my mind, which I have not included in the slides, but let us see if we find that. So the story goes like that. Like I haven't had a chance to get the references, but there was one particular king who was very in Rajasthan, Jaipur, who was very favorable to the Vaishnav cult. Okay, and he had organized a debate where he had Baladev Vidyabhushan was invited, and the person debating on the other side, he challenged Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan that if your specific cult that you are following, that parampara, if it is to be considered as bona fide, then do you have commentary on Bhagavad Gita? Because each bona fide Vaishnava Sampradaya have had their own authorized commentary on Bhagavad Gita. And Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, he prayed to Lord Govinda Dev, who are the deities of Srila Rupa Goswami based in Jaipur. Okay. Yeah. So Baladev Vidyabhushan prayed to Shri Lord Govinda Dev, Radha Govinda Ji, to guide him on writing this commentary on Bhagavad Gita to establish the authenticity of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya in that particular assembly debate. And then it is mentioned that, one second, let me see. Yeah, anyone wants to read Prabhuji's Mataji's Hare Krishna? Just 2-3 paragraphs we'll read. Anyone wants to?
I'll read Prabhuji.
One second, let me ask somebody who has not spoken. Gunashri Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Pranam.
Dandas. Yes, Mataji. At that point,
the Pandits from the Ramanuja Sampradaya shouted, "He admits that there is no commentary. They have no commentary, having no other recourse." Srila Baladeva promised to show them the Gaudiya commentary on Vedanta within a few days. The Pandits were astonished. They gave Baladeva 18 days to have his commentary ready for discussion. They were suspicious that this might be some kind of trick, but were silenced for the time being. Very troubled within his mind, Baladeva went to the temple of Sri Govinda, the deity of Rupa Goswami. After offering his 8-fold obeisances before the deity, he related everything that had taken place. That night, a wonderful thing happened. The Lord appeared to him in a dream and instructed him to write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. The Lord said, "You just write and I will dictate to you what to write, and therefore no one will be able to refuse to accept it." Having seen such a wonderful dream, Srila Baladeva was enlivened and felt renewed strength flow into his heart. Thus he began to write, and within a few days completed the commentary, which was titled Sri Govinda Bhashya.
thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So we see in this particular assembly and the debate, when Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan was challenged that your Sampradaya, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, can be considered as authoritative if your Sampradaya also has a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, like the other Sampradayas they have, including Madhva Sampradaya and including Ramanuja Sampradaya and so on and so forth. And Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan prayed to the Supreme Lord Radha Govinda for the strength and intelligence to write, and Radha Govinda Ji, personally appearing in his mind, told him that I will dictate, you write based on that. And then the commentary on Vedanta Sutra, Govinda Bhashya. Govinda Bhashya means that words which have been spoken by Lord Govinda Ji. And Srila Prabhupada, in his foreword to Bhagavad Gita as it is, he mentions that this commentary by Srila Prabhupada by himself on Bhagavad Gita is dedicated to Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, who wrote such a beautiful commentary on Vedanta Sutra called Govinda Bhashya. Prabhupada writes in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita as it is. So point is, a pure devotee of the Lord, he always depends on the predecessor acharyas and the Supreme Lord to guide him. He doesn't know. He considers himself as totally unqualified without their mercy. So only whatever they would direct him to say in glorification to Lord Krishna, he would only speak that. Any questions, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna. Can we proceed to last 2 verses? Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Okay. So let us go. Text 24. So let me see. Who is the next one? Other devotees, anyone wants to recite? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, who has not recited? All right. Prema Priya Jayashri Mataji. Hare Krishna. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Namastasmai Bhagavate
Namastasmai Bhagavate
Vasudevaya Vedase
Vasudevaya
Vasudevaya
Papurjnanam ayam saumya
Papurjnanam ayam saumya
yan mukhamburu hasavam.
Vasavam.
Can I read the translation, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of Vasudeva, who compiled the Vedic scriptures. The pure devotees drink up the nectarian transcendental knowledge dropping from the lotus-like mouth of the Lord.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Just the highlighted part.
This transcendental knowledge is unknown to the forgotten conditioned souls. Srila Vyasadeva, who is the incarnation of the Lord, thus compiled the Vedic literatures to revive the lost memory of the conditioned souls about their eternal relation with the Lord. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that how this transcendental knowledge that is coming out through Srila Vyasadeva, through his writings, is nothing but the nectar passed by the Lord to his devotees, especially to his consorts. So in the conclusion, Srila Prabhupada writes, a pure devotee of the Lord, that's why they equally relish each and every part of Srila Vyasadeva's writings, specifically within Srimad Bhagavatam, even if they are philosophical. The pure devotees relish them as good as they relish reading about or hearing about intimate pastimes of the Lord with his consorts, etc. So for a pure devotee, both the cosmic manifestation explained in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Vedic cosmology, is as nectarian as the intimate pastimes of the Lord discussed in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He doesn't make a differentiation between these two. And then we come to the last verse for this particular chapter and last verse for our discussion today. Murli Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, you want to recite?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Evatma bhurajan.
Bhurajan.
Naradaya viprachate.
Naradaya viprachate.
Veda garbho abhyadhat sakshad.
Veda
Garbo
Garbho
Abhyadhat Sakshad.
Yad aha hariratmana.
Hariratmana.
Shall I continue
Yeah,
translation? Prabhu?
yes, yes.
Yeah. My dear king, the firstborn on being questioned by Narada exactly apprised him on this subject, as it had been directly spoken by the Lord to his own son, who was impregnated with Vedic knowledge from his very birth.
Yes. So who is being referred to as Veda Garbha here? Prabhuji's Mataji's. Veda Garbha Prabhupada translates as one who is impregnated with Vedic knowledge right from his very birth. Who was impregnated with Vedic knowledge from his very birth?
Shukadeva.
Narada?
Who is being referred to in this verse?
Brahma.
Brahma and Narada.
Yeah.
Brahma
Lord,
and Narada.
yeah. So specifically Lord Brahma, why? Because when he was born, he was the only created being in this material world, and he didn't know who he is, why he has come into this existence, and what is he supposed to do. So the start of his life only, he needed all these queries to be clarified for him to take next action. So he was the one who was given the Vedic knowledge in response to that specific inquiry, and that Vedic knowledge was given to Brahma from within his heart. So that's why he is called as Veda Garbha, one who is impregnated with Vedic knowledge from birth. So yeah, so Shukadev Goswami is praying that similar mercy be upon him, so that he is able to describe that glories of the Lord properly. And I think, yes, Prabhuji, highlighted part.
Yeah. there is no use in theories. Knowledge must be factual. There are many things that are complicated, and one cannot understand them unless they are explained by one who knows. The Vedic knowledge is also very difficult to know and must be learned by the above mentioned system. Otherwise, it is not all understood. You want to elaborate,
Yes.
Prabhuji?
No, you can continue.
Okay. Sukadeva Goswami, therefore, prayed for the mercy of the Lord so that he might be able to repeat the very same message that was spoken directly by the Lord to Brahma, or what was directly spoken by Brahma to Narada. Therefore, the statements of creation explained by Sukadeva Goswami are not at all, as the mundane suggest, theoretical, but are perfectly correct. One who hears these messages and tries to assimilate them gets perfect information of the material creation.
Th- Thank you.
Hence,
Thank
the
you.
Bhaktivedanta purport of second canto, fourth chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Process of Creation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So here Srila Prabhupada is writing that these Vedic imports, to understand them, one needs assistance, one needs help from senior authorities coming in the disciplic succession. Otherwise, we may be able to recite the verse or read the translation, but if we don't read the purports, if we don't read the explanations given by the predecessor acharyas, especially Srila Prabhupada, for all of us, who is the founder acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, then one would not be able to get right import even by reading the verse and the translation. And that's why Srila Prabhupada said few times that he said his writing, why it is special, translation is not that difficult, because even for us Sanskrit seems very difficult to understand what particular word means what in what particular context. But Srila Prabhupada said any Sanskrit scholar, he or she can still give translation. That is still a mundane scholarship, knowing Sanskrit. But he says real special thing about Srila Prabhupada's writing is his purports. Srila Prabhupada said, my purports are my spiritual ecstasies. And we also saw the story of Baladev Vidyabhushan a while ago, that how when he was challenged that your sampradaya can be called authentic only if you present a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, how Baladev Vidyabhushan prayed to Shri Radha Govinda ji and was dictated personally the commentary by them. Similarly, Prabhupada says that his purports are his realizations, are his understandings, without which it is very, very difficult to know the message without referring to purport by the predecessor acharyas. So it is very important to refer to base our understanding based on the commentary of our predecessor acharyas, and not directly jump to conclusion based on our own intellect, based on our own understanding. And we have seen few times that graphic example from Chaitanya Charitamrut of Vallabhacharya, Srila Vallabhacharya, when he presented his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam and announced to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he doesn't feel that the commentary by Sridhar Swami has been written appropriately, and that's why I have written a commentary separate from him without referring to Sridhar Swami's commentary. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not even look at his commentary. He said, one who does not follow the Swami is a prostitute. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want to encourage it at all. He wanted devotees to follow the predecessor acharyas, what is coming in the Guru Shishya Parampara. And that's why we see in Srila Prabhupada's own writing of commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, he himself mentioned many times, he primarily referred to commentaries by 5 different acharyas, primarily. If I remember the sequence, Sanatan Goswami's commentary, he did refer to Srila Jiva Goswami's commentary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and one more. So Sridhar Swami's commentary. So these 5 commentaries Srila Prabhupada did refer to while writing his own purports on Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why it is very, very important. Before jumping to any other books, even Namanishta Prabhuji has this mood. We should thoroughly study Srila Prabhupada's writings few times if needed to understand them properly before we jump to any other explanations or commentaries. This is more or less 100% sufficient to give us the required realizations and understanding to go back home, back to Godhead. So with this, we will conclude chapter number 4 of second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And let me, so then, of course, this particular canto is a bit technical, so we would have few more technical chapters, including the description of Virata Rupa coming a couple of more times at least in this particular canto. So we will next time start with the chapter number 5. Are there any questions, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Hare Krishna? Anyone has, or anything, anybody wants to add anything to what we discussed? So the whole theme for today's discussion and prayers of Shukadev Goswami was his remembering the predecessor acharyas, specifically Lord Brahma and Lord Krishna, empowering Lord Brahma to give the Vedic knowledge and requesting similar empowerment for himself as well, so that he can respond to Parikshit Maharaja's inquiries properly. So that was the essence of today's set of verses. And we saw various examples of great devotees, including Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, compositions by Srila Prabhupada, how all of them, Suta Goswami, etc., how all of them have the same mood, requesting mercy of predecessor acharyas and the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna. All right. So thank you all very much. I thought that we have already taken 1.5 hours. So let us start chapter number 5 on a fresh note next week. Is that all right? Yeah.
Attendance.
Attendance. Yes. Attendance I will share on the group chat, Prabhuji. Rohini Mataji has shared to me on WhatsApp. I'll forward it on the group chat.
Exam, Prabhuji?
Exam, if all of you are okay, we can plan next weekend. So I will discuss with Rasarangini Mataji and she will announce on the group. Okay.
That is fine.
All right. Thank you very much. Vamcha kalpa tarubhyascha krupa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai, Vaishnav Thakur ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Now, we were asked to ask you in particular. Now, the oral exam in the fast track,